What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the channel. My name's Tristan. I hope you guys do enjoy your stay here. Today, as part of the brand new Modern Warfare 3 update, I thought I would do a best settings guide for you guys, which I think is really important if you're trying to get a lot of kills, if you're trying to just overall have more fun with the game. So hopefully you guys do enjoy this video. If you guys do, please make sure to leave a like down below as well as subscribe down below. Really means a lot to me. And with that being said, guys, let's get to it. Now, starting off with just the quick settings. In terms of sensitivity, I have my sensitivity at a 6. This is what I had it as in Modern Warfare 2. And generally, it is a really nice spot for me. I would say, if you're someone that wants to be more precise, then you could easily go a little bit lower, easily in the 2 to 4 range. If you're someone that really wants to be moving just absolutely crazy, I know some people that do play with a 9, 10, or 11 sensitivity, or even higher than that. As far as my stick layout is, it's just the default setting. You can change this to whatever you feel comfortable with, but for me, I've always just played default no matter what it is, going all the way back to Call of Duty 4. It's just the way I am. In terms of everything else, perfectly as can be. Now, moving on to our controller settings. This is going to be really important. This is part of what's really going to help you have a good experience in this game by far. Now, like I mentioned, we are just running the default button layout. You'll see that I have no bumper ping or any sorts of flip. Now one thing that you really want to do, if you haven't already done it by now, turn off controller vibration. I cannot tell you how annoying controller vibration is, either when you're shooting at somebody or when they're shooting at you. You're going to feel it. You're not going to be focused as much, so I would really recommend doing that. Now, dead zone inputs, this is another big thing. I myself really have never changed these things, but this is really going to help by increasing or decreasing the input required for movement and for shots and things like that. So for my left stick minimum, I have it at a 3, and for the left stick max, it'll be at 75. So basically what this does is that it'll tell how far the left stick needs to be pushed in order to produce a maximum input. And, the same with the right stick being at a 4, and then my right stick max being at 99. Now, I personally like this because if you're, obviously moving around with your left stick more, then it's going to be really more fluid for you and overall not going to have a lot of problems. I would leave the left and the right trigger to themselves. If you have trigger stops on your controller, then this is perfectly going to be fine. But I would say, if you want to test it out and go from there. Now, moving on to the aiming, like I mentioned, for horizontal and vertical, I'm going to have it at a 6, which is really important. From there, my ADS sensitivity in multiplier is a 0.9. For sensitivity, I would just keep everything at a 1.1 or 1.0. And, that's basically the default when it comes down to it. For vertical aim access, just keep everything standard. You can change these things. I know some people do like doing inverted for these. I just personally find that it's better to just keep this as it is. Now, for tactical stance, I would say that it really depends, but for me, I personally am going to change this to an 80. I think it's going to be a lot better for me when it comes down to it. Now, aim response curve type is going to be one of your most important things. Okay, standard is what is ideal for new players if this is the first time you're playing Modern Warfare 3. Let's say you've just got the game for Christmas. This is what you're going to start off at. Now, linear is more for players who have been, mastering the game and the aiming system, and, they stick directly to the aiming rate as far as things go. Whereas dynamic, if you're somebody like me who's been playing Call of Duty for a very long time, is going to be right up your alley. So I would suggest moving from standard to dynamic, but you do you. What works for me might not work for you. So that's something I will say. And then you do want to keep your aim response curve scale at a default 1. Now for ADS sensitivity multiplier, you want to have it at a 0.95. What this is basically going to do is give stick sensitivity while aiming down sights. And I think that this is really going to help steady your aim across the board. You can change this however you really want, but that's what I like to do. I would keep this as well the same. Just keep it where, the aim down sight sensitivity is applied immediately when aiming down sights, so you're not having to worry about anything of the sorts. And then aim assist, you want to have this on. For me, I don't really notice it that much compared to when I've had it off, so I just keep it on because at the end of the day, it helps a little bit when it comes down to it. And then there are different options that you do have for your aim assist type. Now, if you're doing precision, that's going to be a strong aim that only kicks in when close to a target. This is best for accurate players. If you're someone that's maybe ultra competitive, focusing is really going to be great if you are new. And then Black Ops, if you've played previous Black Ops games, it's going to be very much traditionally aimed that's like that. But I would say that when it comes down to it, default is kind of the best for this particular game. But things might change depending on how weapons get swapped in and out of metas or stuff like that. And then also I have third person ADS for assist. So this is going to correct aim and prioritize keeping the crosshairs pointed at other players. So that way it is going to be really important across the board. For gameplay, I would say not really much of this you're going to change. I would say that most of this is stuff that, you would kind of expect. One thing I will say to make sure that you turn on is the sprinting door bash, because if you don't, this is going to be a pain in the neck for you. And then also, I would just recommend that you basically keep things as it is across the board. One other thing is with weapon mount activation, you want to have ADS plus melee versus just a double tap or regular ADS. That has been really important for me. I would take tactical stance activation off, which is a really big thing to do. And then other than that, I would say that there's not really much that needs to be changed here. So let's move over to graphics. Now, for me, I personally have on-demand texture streaming turned on. There have been times in the past where I've not had this turned on. So it is something that is important for you guys to decide if you want to have that. It's going to give more color detail and you'll be able to see enemies probably a lot better. Now, I do have both world motion and weapon motion blur turned off, and also no film grain at the same time. For depth of field, you can turn this on and it will essentially give you a more blur for your out of focus regions. So I think that can be a really beneficial thing. But if you're somebody that is constantly looking around you, and not just at your minimap and down, the barrel, it really is going to help. For fidelity FX, I'd turn this on and then keep your strength at 85. So this is what I know a lot of content creators do, a lot of pro players do. It really helps them out across the board. As far as sustainability goes, I just have this for efficiency, which is going to reduce energy, wear and tear on my console, stuff like that. It really has no impact on performance or visual quality while in gameplay. For field of view, I have this at 100. You can go as just wide out as you want, or you can scale it back as much as possible. I know in Modern Warfare 2, I played sometimes around an 80 to a 90. In this game, 100 for me has been working pretty good. And then for third-person field of view, I have it at a 90. And then, again, all of this is practically as is. Third-party ADS transition is important. But other than that, that is what it is. For audio, I would say that I really don't have a mix of any problems This is, not really something that's going to be, necessarily that you have to change. Now, let's talk about interface. This is going to be really important for a few things. First off, with the HUD, you want to have your minimap shape as a square. The reason why you want to have it as a square and not a circle, you can obviously tell that there is a lot of, area that you cut out when it being a round minimap. So you're going to be able to see people more, and that way, it's going to be a lot better for you. You can predict enemies and, their movements. I would say minimap rotation is a really important thing as well. That way you're not just in a really, stable, position. As far as horizontal compass goes, this is something that's more necessary for Warzone. Crosshairs can be a really important thing. I like to have my crosshairs on. I know some people that do like to turn them off, do like static. I personally think you should just keep them on, no matter what. As far as center dot goes, I think that this has actually been a really important thing for me, because what this does is not only having my red dot from my reflector optic, but also just having that center dot for me is really important, especially when I don't have optics unlocked on a weapon. And then for center dot scale, I have it at largest, so that way it's noticeable and I'm not having to deal with any problems. Hit marker visuals, something that's really important. Damage-based hit markers is also another really big thing about this game that's really going to be important. This includes regular hits, lethal kills, equipment hits, kill streaks, everything. So this is really important, because here's the thing. Not every time you throw a grenade or a Semtex or some kind of equipment is it immediately going to inflict damage on somebody, or you might not know unless you have this turned on. Now, in terms of in-game text chat, I do tend to turn this on or off, but for me, I personally like it as is. Telemetry, I obviously show my server latency, packet loss, stuff like that. I'm very particular on these things. So, you might not want these on your screen. For me, I personally have them because I want to be able to know that at the end of the day that I have a good ping, good latency. If I need to swap in a different Ethernet cable, then I can go from there and everything like that. And the same with a connection meter as well. So overall, guys, that is my settings for Modern Warfare 3. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys did, make sure to leave a like again down below, as well as subscribe to the channel if you guys are brand new. And with that being said, guys, my name is Tristin. I'll see all of you guys in the next one.